Yeah, so I've only just been following the OpenID Federation stuff at a distance because the AAF team have been involved in the pilot work with the Italian Federation and others. Um, I believe they have a working prototype up and running based on the OpenID Federation standards and the work that some of the work that the Italian Federation have been doing, developing code to make it work. So basically, it's wanting to move away from SAML, which is XML based, hard to work with, and getting old, to OIDC, which is more modern and deals with some of the more modern use cases, such as mobile devices and API access. So that's some of the main reasons that we're moving towards OIDC away from SAML. So Refed's running this activity, and it's involved in development and adoption of the OIDC Connect Federation standards. And those standards have been under development for a number of years now, probably 5 or 6 or more, I think. One of my colleagues at the AF was involved in some of that early development work. And they're now at a point of actually starting to roll some of this out into a pilot federation, which will sit beside the SAML Federation. So there's a working group. Have you joined the working group? Are you involved in the working group at all?
Not yet. We just from Soy Asia, we just started to learn about this. We do not necessarily have a federation, but we like to see what kind of standards or anything that are required or we need to talk with our partners because the reason is more on the verifiable credentials and other fields related to that. So that's the motivation.
Yep. That's the motivation. That's the sort of where this stuff is leading towards, the ability to provide those verifiable credentials and wallets and so forth. Still very, very early days in that space, but this is some of the sort of preliminary work that's needed to make that happen. So the working group's been running for a while. It's run by Refeds. They're developing standards. Those are contributing to the reviewer for the OpenID Connect Federation specification that outlines how the trust can be established dynamically in a federated context. So they're both working on the technology side of it and reviewing the standards as they go. It's really aimed at the large-scale R&E federations that rely on out-of-band trust establishment, and that's in the traditional SAML-based system. So it's going to look like a SAML-based federation, but use the OIDC protocols to make it happen. Refeds are developing supplementary specifications like the Refeds multi-factor authentication profile. Are you aware of that profile?
No.
It's a profile that allows a service provider. No. It's a profile that allows a service provider to signal to an identity provider that multi-factor authentication is required as part of the login process. So it's been around in SAML space for a number of years now. A number of federations have implemented it in SAML, and they're just replicating that standard in the OpenID Connect. So they're using the same values to pass via OIDC as a claim or a claim request to a relying party to say that the authentication needs to be multi-factor when the user logs in. It doesn't specify what level of multi-factor or what type of multi-factor, just that some form of multi-factor authentication has occurred at the identity provider when the user logs in. So they're developing or extending standards to ensure that those things that are already in place in SAML will also be in place in the OIDC space. They're also looking at how to transition from SAML to OIDC. So they're providing guidance and tools, such as mapping attributes to claims. And there's a wiki page that will say this SAML attribute has this same claim name. It's on the it's one of the refeds pages, and that's to help transition institutions transition from the widely used SAML protocols to OIDC. So they're looking at how that transition is going to occur, and looking at how the user experience might improve as part of all of this stuff. Still early days. I see this being a sort of 2 to 3 year type runway at the moment, possibly even longer. But they're putting all the bits in place at the moment. They're also looking at how to implement support, and supporting this stuff, facilitating discussions. There was a discussion on this at the TechX conference last year in America. There was some of the AAF team went over and participated in that discussion, and they provided an update on what's happening in that space. I'm not sure if that's been recorded, but Pal from SUNET supposedly gave a reasonably good Federation update on what's happening in that space. And I think there's a link to it in the Slack channel. So do you use Slack at all?
Yes, I do.
Yes, I do.
Are you on the EduGain Slack?
No.
I might
If you can share the link, that would be excellent.
Just bear with
If
me.
you can share the link, that would be excellent.
Okay, so Seamless Access is a global discovery service. It's a where are you from type service. So when a user hits a service, they get directed to this thing, and it lets them pick and choose which institution they're from. And then we'll send them off to that institution to log in. Now that's been around in SAML space forever. This is some of the work that's happened to make it possible for the OIDC Federation to emulate or have the same sort of feature. Some other stuff. There's a proof of concept for the OIDC Federation, National Federation's proof of concept. In here, there's a bunch of information about how to set it all up, I think. So the test bed, some links here on how to do your OIDC Federation stuff, and some Docker code and demos and so forth. I believe the Australian Access Federation is already participating in this proof of concept with Italy and others, I expect, but I'm not sure who. You can have a troll through that link as well. And there's some step-by-step guides to set up a minimal OpenID federation with Apache, Gort Buffer, whatever that is, Simple SAML PHP, and Lighthouse. So these are some of the artifacts that are being generated by this activity at the moment. It's all very much proof of concept stuff. So they're just testing, is it going to work, and do the specifications allow it to work as they want it to. And it's very much aimed at Shibboleth and Simple SAML PHP. because they're open source things, I expect it will take many years before things like Microsoft or Okta or Ping or Google or others even start to look at this sort of stuff, if they ever do. Because they've all done SAML, they've all done OIDC, but they haven't done the proper federated versions of that stuff. And as you already indicated, it's a leader into the verifiable credentials type stuff. But I've not really got much idea on how that's all playing out. So I just got the very basics on what OpenID or verifiable credentials are. And I think that's more 5 to 7 years away for the federated version of verifiable credentials. But there are other initiatives that like the banking sector has been doing verifiable credentials for a while. But it does take time for this stuff to sort of flow down to the research and higher education sector. And there are some projects, I think there's one in Australia that's looking at how to do it for universities. But I'm not exactly sure what their use cases are. So pretty much vague in this space. But if you want to reach out to someone who may have a better idea, let me give you an email address.
Yes, that would be great. Thank you.
I'm not exactly sure on how to actually join the working group, but I think being part of the Slack group is one way you could, once you join or get access to that Slack group, then you can ask those guys, well, if you want to participate in this activity, then they will be able to point you in the right direction.
Yes, as long as I can get updates on the
as long as
latest
I can
status.
get updates on
So that is the most important thing for
the latest status.
our
So
group.
that
Thank
is
you.
the most important thing for our group. Thank you.
Yep. So there was actually January 19th this year, 2026. Was a meeting held, some notes about that, about the trust model, trademarks, some questions, answers. Yep. Yeah, once you're on that Slack group, that should be pointing in the right direction and getting you in contact with the right folk. And Russell and John might be able to help out if that my invite doesn't work. Okay, anything else?
No, that would be all. Thank you very much. I think I have to read all these
Thank you very
pages.
much. I think
I
have to
and
read all
I may
these
contact
pages.
you or
And
John or
I
Russell if
may
anything.
contact you or John or Russell
That's okay.
if anything.
Yeah.
That's okay.
All right. Thank you very much,
So
Terry.
that's my email address.
Yes. Okay.
All right. Thank you very much,
Got it.
Terry.
Okay.
Yes. Okay.
How's the actual conference in Bangladesh going?
Well, the other rooms are busy, I believe. I went to the disaster management this
rooms
morning.
are busy, I believe.
Oh.
I went to the disaster management this morning.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, and the venue is very close to the
Identity and
airport.
access management tends to be a bit quiet.
Yeah. The venue is
that's what I
very close to
understand.
the airport. Yeah, that's what I understand.
Yep. Yeah, I would have loved to have been there, but Australia's got sort of fairly strict rules about safety. We're very paranoid about it.
Yeah, it's well. I went to the city yesterday.
I went to the city yesterday.
visited the Bangladesh University of Engineering Technology, which is our so easy partner.
the Bangladesh University.
It was quite okay. I mean, even though the election is coming on the February 11th.
Even though the election is coming on the February 11th,
the people's life are going on without any issues. Seems like
people's life are going
pretty
on
quiet
without any issues.
and very good.
Seems like pretty quiet and very good.
As I said, they're very paranoid.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you very much, Terry, and I think I'll see you online or face to face another venue.
Online or face to face another venue.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, thank you.
Well, enjoy OpenID Fed.
Yes, will do. Thank you very much.
Okay. I'm gonna call it now and be back in whenever the next session is to see if anyone else turns up.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Okay.
Thanks. Bye-bye.